What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And in today's video, we're talking about Soba Mask. I'm pretty certain this is probably the character that I'm going to be targeting in the upcoming Sugo Fest. Now, I know both of these characters are very good, but through personal opinions, I do think that Soba Mask is slightly better, and that is the character that I'm personally thinking about going for. I'm not really 100% sure, but I think Soba Mask is probably going to be the banner I'm going to be pulling on. So that's going to be part 2 of Luffy and Zoro and Soba Mask Sugo Fest, of course, coming on the 25th of May, 1900 PST time, which I will be live streaming over on twitch.tv/Toadskii. Make sure to go over to the stream when this Sugo Fest hits. It's going to be awesome. But in this video today, as I said, we're going to be talking about Soba Mask. Now, I made a video yesterday talking about a how-to video for Luffy, Taro, and Zorojiro. I want to do the same thing here, but for Soba Mask instead. So let's go ahead, go through his abilities first, and then we'll talk about ways you can use the character. So, Soba Mask, he is a quick Free Spirit powerhouse. It's a pretty interesting class combination of Free Spirit and powerhouse. I do actually like it. I think it's pretty good. Though he does lose out on a couple of benefits by not having the fighter class, because it means that you can't get all of the benefits from Legend Cracker, which is a little bit of a downfall, but even still, he is a really good unit, right, despite those classes. So his stats are very good. His captain ability, there is 2 different captain abilities. Now, the reason for this is because normally when you limit break the character, he's going to be fine with just a generic captain ability, but the thing about this guy is you do have to limit break expand him to get a buffed captain ability. And I'm not a big fan of this. I don't like giving limit break expansions to debuting characters because it kind of it caps their ceiling at a certain point, and upgrading them later on will be kind of finicky, whether they add like a limit break plus or whatever it is. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I think just giving limit break expansions to debuting characters is a terrible idea for this reason alone. So his buffed captain ability, fully capped out, reduces the cooldowns of all specials by 1 turn at the start of the fight, boosts attack of all characters by 3.5, greatly boosts the chances of tandem orbs appearing, makes them beneficial, and if you have a tandem orb, you get 4.25 times attack. So it's a rainbow 4.25 captain, reduces cooldowns, and more tandem orbs are going to be appearing. So the main difference between his captain ability when it's limit break expanded and his generic ability is that it just boosts the chances of getting tandem slots normally, but when you limit break expand it, he greatly boosts the chances of tandem orbs appearing, which obviously makes a big difference considering you want those tandem slots to get his buffed captain effect. Now, he does have a captain action as well, which makes his character even better, so he will become transparent. Now, by doing this, he prevents all debuffs on himself, so including bind, despair, special bind, slot bind, special rewind, paralysis, the works. He is phenomenal. It only avoids it on himself, so the character that uses this captain action. So if you have both Soba Masks up and you don't use it on your friend captain will still be affected by it. The rest of your crew members are still affected by it, just not your captain, which is still pretty good though. Now, on top of avoiding those debuffs, he also makes his own normal attacks bypass every defensive effect in the game. Barriers, threshold, damage reduction, damage nullification, base defense as well. He bypasses all of those with his normal attacks and also adds 500 times his attack as tap timing bonus damage as well to himself. Now, by doing that, it adds around an additional 1 million damage. So not only does he bypass all those barriers and defensive effects, but he also just does 1 million extra damage for free, which is fantastic. That also lasts for 3 turns when you activate it. After those 3 turns, you'll have a 6-turn cooldown before you can launch it once again, which is not that bad considering how powerful this captain action is. Now, as for his special ability, he changes all orbs, including block into tandem, which is great, of course, with his captain, and boosts the attack of all characters by 1.75 for 1 turn. If you use his special ability in the same turn as the special already being launched, it's a 2.5 times attack boost instead. Now, as a sub, this can be definitely activated considering every time another character uses a special, he gets 4 turns cooldown reduction to himself on an 11-turn cooldown, meaning after you launch his special, if you launch 4 other specials, you can use his special again to guarantee you that 2.5 times rainbow attack boost. So you can get a 2.5 rainbow attack boost with a 4.25 times captain. Yeah, this character is pretty freaking good. So to sum this all up, what are the benefits of Soba Mask? Now, obviously, he's a rainbow 3.5 up to a 4.25 times captain, which is good. He is also a pretty good unit to hybrid up with other friend captains. If you don't own Soba Mask yourself, you can definitely hybrid him up, considering he is a rainbow captain. So hybriding him up is actually relatively easy and straightforward. Lots of tandem orbs which can abuse that 4.25 times multiplier, and also by abusing tandem orbs, you can actually go ahead and use the Germa 66 ship as well, which will enable you to get even more attack boost. So that's just an option as well, and even more cooldown reduction too as well. He has the ability to reduce cooldowns at the start of the quest, which makes your runs a little quicker depending on the type of content you're going up against. He has a very good captain action as well, avoiding debuffs, bypassing all defensive effects, additional tap timing bonus damage, and both captains can abuse it at the same time. Now, another thing as well is that when you get that additional tap timing bonus damage, that does not like add an icon buff to your team, which means that if you have another special that adds more tap timing bonus damage on top of it, that will count on top of Sanji's tap timing bonus. So you could use, like, hypothetically V2 Katakuri's tap timing bonus on top of Sanji's tap timing bonus. So you can see how this kind of could stack up and gets kind of crazy, right? Of course, normal attacks only does hinder this though, mind you. He also is his crew's dedicated attack booster and orb manipulator. Do you realize how crazy that is for a captain of his magnitude to have a full board orb manipulator and being an attack booster as well? Like, it's just the perfect package in one. And you guys who've been around the channel for a while would know that I love characters that do that. Soba Mask is perfect for me personally as a player. I would love to get my hands on this guy. He also will just guarantee you the full board of tandem orbs, which can just, you know, benefit you with getting the buffed captain effect, of course. And as a sub, you can get the 2.5 times attack boost relatively easily as long as you use your specials in the right order. And he has a very usable support effect, mind you, as well. We didn't even talk about that. His support effect supports Frankie and Usopp, and once per adventure when you launch the special, boost attack of all characters by 1.3. Now, that's not a very significant attack boost, but on a mini-boss stage, you can launch an Usopp or a Frankie special and get a free 1.3 times attack boost for your whole team. That's so good. Like, a 1.3 attack boost isn't much, but if you've already activated another orb boost and you have some matching orbs, that's going to be more than enough damage, depending on the team you're running, to kind of get through mini-boss stages, right? So that's actually pretty good. You could use it on an Usopp that has some utility, like the new Usopp in the batch that he's going to be releasing with, to just get some extra damage for going through mini bosses and stuff like that. But this Sanji overall is really good, but he does have some negatives. Number one is that if there is an enemy that reacts to orb manipulation, that's going to hinder this Sanji a lot, because if you're using his special to get the attack boost, you have to have the orb manipulation, and vice versa. If there's an enemy that reacts to attack boost, you know, that's going to be a problem as well. So there are ways around that, of course. You will have to, you know, make your way around it just with some very finicky characters. And in those instances, you probably just wouldn't be using Soba Mask anyways. But there are ways around it, of course. Another thing as well, he doesn't have any tankiness. He has no HP boost. He has no damage reduction effects. That can be a downside. But of course, you can hybrid him up with other captains to kind of like make up for that. But that is definitely a downside to the character. Another negative to the character is the fact that you have to launch his special twice in the same turn in order to get his 2.5 attack boost. But on the same token, you know, if you're using his special ability to get the full board of tandem orbs, you have a 4.25 captain, you have a 1.75 attack boost, and if you have some other special active, that's going to be more than enough damage to take down a lot of bosses. So that's not really that big of a downside, but if you do need that extra damage cap, it might be annoying to get his special to launch twice. And another really big bad downside to the character is you need to limit break expand him to get the most out of him, which I'm not a big fan of, because most, like, early to mid-game players are not going to be able to do that. And also, type orb barriers, like any barriers where you need a specific colored orb, might be a problem with this guy. Of course, you can use his captain action to bypass that to kill enemies, but if you got like a big final boss that has an orb barrier, that can be a problem. Like, you can't even run like a support effect to guarantee you an orb, because if you're using his special to get an attack boost, you're manipulating that orb away. So that is kind of a downside to the character, but it really depends on your situation and what you're going up against. Obviously, in those situations where he's not going to be as good, you just don't run Soba Mask. It's just not effective enough. But those are the pros and cons to the character. Let's talk more about this guy. I kind of need to pause it right here because I actually forgot to include a whole section of this video which was actually discussing what are the actual hybrid captains that you can utilize with this actual Soba Mask Sanji. So up here on the screen right now, these are the suggested ones that I would probably say are going to be working reasonably well with Soba Mask. You got V3 Cruzan being a Strength X quick captain. Quickbeard being a powerhouse and striker captain obviously works very well with Soba Mask being a powerhouse unit. You've got 6+ Lucy, who's not out on global yet, but is expected to be coming around in this celebration. So I would expect that to be coming sometime in early June. So definitely look forward to that. Also, Kaido being a powerhouse boosting captain once again also works very well with Soba Mask. Douglas Bullet can work as well because he is a strength, quick, and int captain, and Soba Mask is a rainbow captain and is quick, so it works out quite nicely. Then you got Sabo and Koala because Soba Mask is also free spirit, so you can run Sabo and Koala as a friend captain with him instead. Luffy and Law being a rainbow captain as well works very, very well with Soba Mask. Also Sanji and Judge, if you want to be running a powerhouse related team, that is also an option. And also the Snake Man character is also pretty good, also being a rainbow captain and is an orb booster, so you can have your Soba Mask being your attack booster, and you've got an orb booster with Snake Man. So all these characters are definitely valid options to be running as a friend captain with Soba Mask if you don't own him yourself. So now let's go ahead and get back to the rest of the video. And let's talk about the ships that you would run with this guy. There are actually quite a few options because remember, he's a rainbow captain and he has some pretty good class and color combinations. So the Rocket Man is a pretty good option as well. It's a powerhouse boosting ship, so if you are running a full powerhouse team, this can kind of make up for some of the tankiness that he loses with not having any HP boost or any damage reducing effects, because it's a 1.55 attack, which is good. And if you have 6 powerhouse characters, you can heal an additional 900 HP per turn. So getting, 1900 healing per turn is pretty good. The only problem is if the enemy has some sort of effect which can blow away your characters, this ship is pretty bad. So for that reason, the Rocket Man isn't really used that much anymore. The Polar Tang ship is pretty good. It's for like free spirit teams specifically, but it gives you 1.5 attack, additional health, which is nice because he doesn't have that health boost. And if you're below 20%, you get a 10k heal, which is also very good. The next one after that I want to talk about is the Blackbirds. The Blackbirds is a HP boosting ship, 1.55 attack if you have a strength, a dex, and quick character in your team. Soba Mask being a quick character, all you need is a strength and a dex unit to fulfill that, and because he's a rainbow captain, that's not difficult to do at all. The next ship that we could talk about is the Zunisha ship because it's a powerhouse and cerebral boosting ship, and he himself is powerhouse, so you can run that, run other cerebral or powerhouse characters. Recovery in tandem accounted as beneficial. He already makes tandem beneficial, but making recovery always beneficial as well is pretty good. The next one as well is the Queen Mama Shanta. This ship is actually kind of ridiculous for this Sanji because your captain has to be powerhouse or driven, which he is, and then to boost the attack of strength, dex, and quick by 1.5 at the start of the chain, and then 1.65 after 3 consecutive perfects, which means that you can make Soba Mask hit ridiculously hard that can go through all defensive effects with tap timing bonus damage. This would be really good if you do need that Soba Mask to hit through barriers like really, really hard. This is a good ship enabling you to do that. Another really good one, of course, we did touch on it briefly, the German 6 ship. You do need to have one of each color in order to fulfill the condition, but if you do and you have a tandem orb, you get a 1.1 times boost on top of your 1.55, which I think was like a 1.7 times ship. I'm going to quickly calculate that. Yeah, 1.7 times ship, which is just ridiculous for a ship to be able to do. We got 2 more, which is the Spadil. This is a powerhouse, free spirit, and fighter boosting ship, and because Soba Mask is both powerhouse and free spirit, you can do that. Run other fighter, powerhouse, and free spirit units, which some of those classes are the best in the game, honestly, powerhouse and free spirit specifically, and there's good fighter characters in the game too. And if you're below 30%, you get a 1.6 boost, which is good. And the last ship I want to touch on is the Koi ship, because he himself is a quick character, so if you're running a full quick and int team, you can run this ship, and if you're at full HP, you get 1.6 times boost. It's also a chain boosting ship with a special as well, which is pretty nice to have. So there's plenty of good options for ships for Soba Mask, which is really, really good to see. But for most of the examples here, we're just going to be talking about the host ship, because that's just the best overall ship to run. Plus, this ship is actually really good because it gives you additional cooldown. So with double Soba Mask, the host ship, and your sockets, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 turns of cooldown reduction at the start of the fight, which is pretty nice. Pretty nice to have. So let's go ahead and talk about 2 different team compositions. We have a free-to-play team composition, and we'll have a pay-to-play or a legend team composition. Now, with Soba Mask, it's a little bit difficult, right? Because he's a rainbow captain. You can literally run whatever you want. It really comes down to what type of content you're going up against. That's going to heavily impact the type of characters that you bring. So the characters that we show here in this video today might not be ideal for certain pieces of content, but this is just giving you a broad idea as to what you should be thinking about when building a team with Soba Mask. Remember, guys, if you guys want to go ahead and build teams, go ahead and use the database. Link to it is down below in the description. I got lots of questions about that in my video yesterday. Always in the description. Make sure to check the description for links for stuff. So the database is a very valuable resource. Make sure to come here to build your teams. Makes it much, much easier. So I'm not going to fully complete these teams because it really does come down to what you're coming up against. As I said, that's very, very important in Treasure Cruise. You can't just build one team that beats everything. It's not the way the game is meant to be played. You're meant to have a vast array of characters that you can pick and choose from that are going to help you complete very specific pieces of content. Now, in this example here, this is a really good team example that it has lots of room to work with, right? So with this team, we've got the double Soba mark. So when we use his special ability, we get the full board of tandem orbs. The database classifies the meat orb as the tandem orb here, so don't worry about that. So we've got a full board of tandem orbs, and look, just with that alone, we're already getting into crazy territories of damage, and we don't even have 6 characters on the team. We're going to use the Soba Mask special to get the 2.5 times attack boost. Already looking spicy. Though, before you activate that special, I should probably mention this. Make sure to use the Law special first. He is a chain booster. You don't need him on the team, but he's also a really good unit because he reduces bind and despair. And another really good thing about this Law is that you could attach Corazon as a support to this guy to reduce more bind, more despair, more paralysis. Or you could attach someone like Whitey Bay to this character to give you more bind and despair reduction, depending on what you want, right? So this is a good example of a character that would just be a good utility unit. But on top of that, he's also a chain booster. So he's a chain boosting unit. Make sure you use his special first because he makes adjacent orbs matching. So you want to make sure you get the tandem orbs, not the matching orbs. So we've got the chain boost and we've got the attack boost. And then we've just got Doflamingo here as an example free-to-play orb booster. And that's some really good damage right there. As I said, not even with 6 characters on the team. And with 6 characters on the team, we do get more damage output because the chain boost would be even higher because we'd have 6 characters attacking instead. And we're already getting into over 12 million damage for every single typing in the game. This is with both of the captain actions active. Obviously, having both of them active does make a big difference. You can even have one active and that's still giving you really good damage, or none of them active is still giving you really good damage. But in a lot of cases, you want to make sure that both of them are active on the boss stage to give you the most damage output possible here. So this is really, really good damage output here. Really, really good. And that's with the 2.5 times boost. Even just with the 1.75, that's giving you good damage. And as I said, if you've got 2 spaces to work with, you could even take Law out, replace him with another utility unit. If you've got a stronger chain locker, you could put that on the team. There's just so many options with Soba Mask, and that's one of the really good things about him, is you can play around with him, you can bend him, you can make him very flexible depending on the content that you're coming up against. So that is just a free-to-play example of how to be using this character. We've got an attack booster and an orb manipulator, which is one of the best things about Soba Mask, a chain booster and a utility unit, and you've got an orb booster just with this Doflamingo. And as I said, if you've got stronger versions of these characters, replace them as you like. But now let's talk about a legend version. So switching things up, this time around we have Luffy and Law and V2 Big Mom. So of course, not everyone's going to be able to build this team. I can completely understand that. But this is just showing you guys some of the potential this guy can have. So once again, in this certain circumstance, we're going to use the Luffy Zora special, or the Soba Mask special to give us the full board of tandem orbs, which is exactly what we want. We're going to use the 2.5 times multiplier. We're going to have Luffy and Law to give us a 2.5 times rainbow orb boost. That's going to be pretty spicy. And then activating Big Mom to give us not only an attack boost as well, the base attack boosting, but also a 3.5 times chain multiplier lock. And yeah, for a 4-man team to be dealing at least 18 million damage to every single color, that's absurd. This can go up to 31 million against strength, and you've got 2 spots for dedicated utility. Or if you wanted to, you could replace these characters out. You don't need Big Mom. Like, you could literally replace Big Mom with whatever you want. But look, even when you're taking Big Mom out and replace it with whatever you want, you're still getting like over 11 million damage to every single typing with just an orb boost and a type boost. So yeah, this is showing you guys some of the damage potential that this guy can have, and Soba Mask is just one of the best legends in the game. He's going to be aging very well on JP, even with their releases of Snake Man, Katakuri V3, Blackbeard V2, Soba, Sabo. With those guys, this guy's still up there in terms of one of the better legends in the game. He is just super nice, and he ages very well. So that's just a quick rundown of some examples. As I said, if you need utility units, make sure to come over to the database and filter with what you want. If you guys don't know how to do that, filter by special ability filters, and if you need a character that can reduce burn, you can filter that. You can also filter through different colors, you can filter through different classes. You have everything that you need here on the database to place characters on these teams. So make sure to come to the database to help you build those teams. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and you learned something about Soba Mask. I'm super excited for this Sugo Fest. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. If you guys did enjoy it, make sure to leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I will see you guys within the next video.